My wife kind of roasted me this weekend. She said, "What is your favorite Christmas movie?" And I said, "Here's the thing. My favorite movie associated with Christmas is probably Die Hard, but I can't be one of those guys who's like Die Hard, because then it's just a little too Redditor core for me to be the guy who quotes that." So I said, "I don't know. Like, I really like Home Alone." And then Kate said, "Wow, that's really showing your age." And I was like, "Damn, I guess it is." Then I said, "Well, what's your favorite Christmas movie?" She hit me with the Santa Claus. I haven't seen the Santa Claus since I was like, I don't know, like 7 years old when I rented it from the video store. I'm 25 years old. I love Home Alone. It's a movie old people like, for sure. Point taken. I've seen A Christmas Story too many times to enjoy it anymore. I recognize it as a good movie. I'm just saying that for me personally, I never want to see it again because Christmas Story might be the movie I've seen more than any other movie on planet Earth, except possibly the Austin Powers films. The difference is I chose to watch the Austin Powers movies all those times. A Christmas Story was foisted upon me. My parents watched it every Halloween, every Christmas, which was good. I enjoyed it. I'm 8, whatever. I had a great time. But then TBS Superstation started playing that shit literally a 24-hour marathon every Christmas day. So just having the TV on while people are like opening presents, you see like the movie 1.5 times. You go to your grandparents' house, they got the movie on. You'll shoot your eye out, Sasha Frasha, only I didn't say fudge, you know? So it was soap poisoning. I've had it a little too much at this point. Which is fine. It's fragile, must be Italian. It's a good movie. I know I do this every year, but people love it, okay? It's like my Mariah Carey bit. Home Alone, the dude, I'm sorry if you watch it on YouTube, you're hitting the dislike button. You're like, when is he gonna buy the Yggdrasil leaf? Listen, this is what I do, okay? Home Alone 1, Kevin McAllister is simply standing his ground, okay? It's castle doctrine. The wet bandits are sieging his house. Home Alone 2, Kevin McAllister should be in Supermax prison, sharing a cell with the Unabomber. Rip. The bit made more sense before he died. Rip to the Unabomber. You would have loved Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. In Home Alone 2, Kevin McAllister is sticking his nose where it doesn't belong. The wet bandits are robbing a toy store. I'm not saying it's a good thing. What they should be doing in that situation is canvassing for charity or singing carols, but they're robbing a toy store. Kevin McAllister should call the police. That's all he has to do. Librarian, thank you for the gifted subscriptions, by the way. Thank you. There's a lot of pressure now. He should have called the police. What he did instead is set up a bunch of fucking jigsaw traps in his aunt's brownstone in New York City. He lures the wet bandits there and then basically subjects them to physical torture it's against the Geneva Convention to the extreme, but also would kill anyone. Like, this is Looney Tunes IRL shit. The next half hour is actually one of the grotesque edifications of violence that I've ever seen on film, especially in a supposed children's movie. Kevin McAllister and the film's creators worship at the altar of blood, and they are part of the cult of malevolence. I don't know how else to say it. This bizarre scene is kicked off by Kevin McAllister throwing a brick into Marv's head. It collides squarely with the top of his head. Marv is knocked to the ground, visibly nauseous. The scene cuts to viewing things from Marv's perspective. Marv has doubled vision. Joe Pesci says, "Hey Marv, how many fingers am I holding up?" Marv says, 8. Joe Pesci, in a very scary, I don't even want to think of the implications here, looks at his own hand to verify that he does not have 8 fingers on his hand. Now, you might say, that's enough to do some catastrophic damage. You're not wrong. And you know what? That first brick probably cracked his skull. He definitely would need hospitalization, is my estimate, but I'm not a doctor. Then, as if that weren't enough, he throws another brick. It hits him right on top of the dome. If you were already concussed, as it appeared that he was based on the doubled vision, and being kind of delirious, I believe that probably would have, at the very least, he would have post-concussion syndrome that would probably ruin his brain for life. Just to be honest with you, I think that he would never even be close to the same. Probably suffer a catastrophic brain injury. As if that wasn't enough, clearly having disabled the robbers, he throws 2 more bricks from the roof, all of which collide. Marv still somehow alive after this. Okay, now they finally get the door open. The robbers get the door open. They're in the brownstone. Marv falls 3 stories down onto his back, onto a concrete basement floor. Would have liquefied him from the inside out. Marv gets electrocuted so much you can see his damn skeleton, which is like how you kill a murderous elephant on Coney Island in the 19th century. Like, it's insanity. He fills, Kevin McAllister fills a toilet with lighter fluid and rigs it so when the wet bandits flush, it explodes and Joe Pesci is immolated in a damn fireball. Like this, all they were doing was robbing a toy store. I'm not saying they should have done it, but at the same time, like, that's not an equitable punishment for the stuff that the criminals were doing in the first place. This is why we have laws and checks and balances. It's just like, the movie is actually, it's fun, but I was surprised when I was watching it that it's actually, like, it's twisted, man. In Home Alone 1, like, they kind of, Kevin McAllister is pretty justified. I hate to say it because I know how this sounds. In Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, Kevin McAllister really goes looking for a fight. He does. There's no other way to say it. He didn't really have to involve himself in the situation. But instead, Kevin McAllister, it's extrajudicial, right? Like, he just decides, no, these guys, they need to be taught a lesson. Which is probably true, they are jerks. But, like, I almost wonder, like, if you got a lawyer to comment on Home Alone 2, if he could actually make the case that, like, they could sue, the Sticky Bandits could sue Kevin McAllister's parents for, like, everything they're worth. It's not like, oh, if you're gonna commit a crime, all of a sudden you forego all of your rights to, everything, and if some, little jigsaw tortures you, then, well, you shouldn't have committed robbery, right? Like, it's actually like a Black Mirror episode. Like, I think you can learn a lot. I mean, I don't know about the average person, but I feel like I learned a lot about myself watching Home Alone 2. I'm being very sincere. This is a kid. Like, if you ever needed a lesson that, like, kids are kind of brutal, no kid ever watches Home Alone 2 and goes like, I kind of feel for the bandits. Many adults, when I tweeted about watching Home Alone 2, left, comments on the tweet. They left replies that were like, when I watched this movie as a kid, it was a lot of fun. When I watched it as an adult, I was like, this guy should be in jail or therapy or something. Like, it's just absurd. He takes matters into his hands to such an extreme degree that, you're not really, like, rooting for him anymore. You're not rooting for him to be killed, but you're like, But Home Alone 2 does go kind of hard. Because when they catch Kevin McAllister, Joe Pesci does put a gun to his head and say, hey, kid, I never finished the 3rd grade. Looks like you won't neither. And you're like, damn, I was literally watching this shit when I was, like, 6 years old. And I was like, no! They're gonna kill Macaulay Culkin, bro! I think he's saved by the lady. She throws she throws the bird seed so the birds attack him and stuff like that. But anyway, it's crazy, man. They were going nuts. The hell were they thinking? Why are you spoiling the movie? Bro, the best part when Donald Trump shows up, don't worry, DL Guiga, that stuff happens like 45 minutes into the movie. Then you can turn it off and go to fucking Men's Warehouse or wherever you buy your shirts from. Draw +2 cards every battle. Hunter Wings. End turn with energy. Retract. Wings do go crazy. Gain 1 extra energy every turn, but your cannons become weak. Wings do go crazy. I like the wings, but I also think drawing 2 extra cards is kind of insane. I think these are all good. Seems like drawing is great because our win condition is like drawing our beam. Hello, witch. Be gone. You can no longer skip cards anymore. Ah! That's all right. We just won't do combat. In Home Alone, POV, you're in Home Alone and you just put on aftershave for the first time. Can you sing some Genuine? Oh, you mean the burp song? Burr, 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 burr. I'm just a bachelor looking for a partner. Someone who knows how to ride without trying to fall in love. Got to be compatible. Push it to the limit. Be sure when I break it off, she's not gonna wanna get off. You're horny, let's do it. Riding on my pony, my saddle's waiting. Come in, jump on it. Like that Genuine song.